afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the City Commission meeting. The time is now 5:30 p.m., and I'm going to be calling this meeting to order. It has been duly posted as required by state law. Absent today is Commissioner Lopez. However, we do have a quorum and able to move forward. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, if you will please rise as Commissioner Mesmer leads us in the invocation.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear God, shine your countenance down upon us and grant us victory as Christians over our adversaries. And by your cross, may we succeed. Amen.
Amen. And now the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and Mark, if you will read the conflict of interest, please.
Yes, ma'am. Under state law, a conflict of interest exists if a council member or certain members of that person's family has a qualifying financial interest in an agenda item. Members with a conflict of interest cannot participate in the discussion or vote on the agenda item. Are there any known conflicts of interest to disclose at this time?
Yes, item 2I in the consent agenda.
Okay, none for me, Commissioner?
Nope.
None for me.
No.
All right, thank you. And we are going to next take up the presentation of proclamations. Christina, and then we'll move on to citizen communication.
Good evening, Mayor, City Commissioners, City Managers, as well as all our guests who are joining us here today. We are proclaiming Fire Prevention Month today. And before I read the proclamation, I do want to invite Juan Salceda, he's our fire marshal, to share a few words kind of about what they do in support of Fire Prevention Month.
Good afternoon. We always prepare, and in June is when the campaign for NFPA comes out. And this year, it's cooking safety starts with you. And so we've been making arrangements, doing letters to the schools, trying to get the reservations for the campuses so the fire trucks can go and do their safety program. So we're gearing up for October. It's always nice to go back to the way things used to be because of COVID. We really didn't have that face-to-face interaction. So it's nice to go back to that. We're visiting the campuses, we're seeing the kids, and we see that it does really play a big part in their lives, that we're there for them. And so cooking safety, we all know that any cooking appliance left unattended could become a disaster, and we're going to try our best to provide the information not just to the children but to the adults, that when you're cooking, don't ever leave it unattended, because that's when consequences occur, because something is left unattended. And if there's any safety measures as to a safety plan, where to meet in case something does go wrong, we're always going to tell that to the children, that you always got to have an evacuation plan and know exactly where to go so that everybody can safely leave the building. Currently right now, the schools are very excited with us going back to them. We also looking at more of the neighborhood communities that are asking us for any type of safety presentation. So it is an exciting time. It goes by quickly, even though it's only Fire Prevention Week. We call it Fire Prevention Month for the month of October. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So before we ask everyone to come up and take a few photos, I do want to read the proclamation, which is being presented as follows. Whereas the City of Harlingen is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living and visiting our city. Fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire. Whereas home fires killed more than 2,800 people in the United States in 2021, according to the National Fire Protection Association, and fire departments in the United States responded to 338,000 home fires. And whereas cooking is the leading cause of home fires in the United States, and fire departments responded to more than 166,400 annually between 2016 and 2020. And whereas 2 of every 5 home fires start in the kitchen, with 31% of these fires resulting from unattended cooking. And more than half of reported non-fatal fires, injuries occurred when the victim tries to fight the fire themselves. Whereas children under 5 face a higher risk of non-fire burns associated with cooking than being burned in a cooking fire. And Harlingen's first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. Whereas Harlingen residents are responsive to public education measures and can take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. Whereas the 2023 fire prevention theme is Cooking Safety Starts With You, pay attention to fire prevention. Effectively reminds us to stay alert and use caution when cooking to reduce the risk of kitchen fires. Now, therefore, Mayor Norma Sepulveda does hereby proclaim October 8th through the 14th as Fire Prevention Week throughout the city of Harlingen, and urges all residents to check their kitchens for fire hazards and use safe cooking practices during Fire Prevention Week 2023. Congratulations to the fire department as well as the fire marshals for all that they do, not only this week, but throughout the entire year, especially to reach young children within our schools where they go talk about fire prevention tools. So we'd like to invite them to come up and take a photo with the mayor and city commission.
It's turned into a month. It used to be a week, but it's turned into.
Guys, get closer, please. Yeah. Closer, get closer. Niños, allá atrás. Ladies first.
Thank you. Right here. Give you a countdown. All right, ready? Let me just focus. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and one more. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, one more. Awesome.
Okay, ready? Okay, ready? Everybody look right here. 1, 2, 3, and one more. 1, 2, 3. Got it.
Can we get another big round of applause for our fire department? Moving on. All right, so the second meeting of every month, we have started a Mayor's Business of the Month. And following this Mayor's Business of the Month, we are going to be posting a community input survey where residents can nominate a business that they would like to be Business of the Month. So this month, we have Joe Martinez joining us. He is the owner of Hook, Line, and Sinker, which is a tackle shop located in the Mercado Plaza on 77 Sunshine Strip in Harlingen. They sell the latest rods and reels, performance fishing apparel, and more. And so before I say any more, I'd like Joe to please stand to be recognized as September's Mayor's Business of the Month.
We're going to invite him up in just a second, but right now we are going to play a video that we made when we went to his business this month. He was very welcoming, so here it is.
Well, the name Hook, Line, and Sinker has been in business for over 40 years here in Harlingen.
I've had the pleasure of having this business under me for about 14, 15 years here in Harlingen. We carry big brands like Shimano, G. Loomis, Waterloo rods, Turtle Box. We carry Yeti lures, KK Whittier, Down South, RGB, AM lures, JRZ, all the local. We carry a lot of local brands. We try to keep it local. Of course, we have national brands like Gulp and stuff like that, but I say over 50% of our merchandise is local. To come on by because we can cater to you. We can show you things. We can ask you things. You ask this question if you need to show you a knot, to show you how to put the jig head on the lure, questions that we can answer and actually show you physically how to do things. We can do that and help you without you having to ask these questions to somebody looking at you and going like, hey, you don't know how to fish or what, guy, whatever. So, and it happens, and a lot of people don't like to go to the big box stores because of that. The first thing that we do ask when somebody's looking for a combo is, what do you want to spend? And they say, about 100, 150. We're gonna put them in the best possible combo for that price. That's your budget, that's where we're gonna fit it, and that's what we're gonna do. And they're gonna walk out of here happy. We are located in El Mercado Shopping Plaza on 77. Our business address is 712 North 77 Sunshine Strip, Suite 37. To get the mayor's business of the month, it's actually awesome. When I got the phone call earlier today, I had the Joker smile. It was all the way up here, so it was something great, and I was really, really proud, and I gave myself a pat in the back. I always say our customers are everything, so and that I truly believe that 100%, because without them, I'd shut my doors. I haven't worked in 14 years. You know the saying, if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. Well, I haven't worked for 14 years because I really enjoy what I do.
So I would like to read a few, of course, before you go somewhere, you Google it. So I did see a couple of Google reviews that were really nice and refreshing. One of them said that they're super knowledgeable, great people, best place in the area to get your fishing gear, and good prices too. Another said, such a great local shop. Regret never going sooner to check out their store. The owner was very helpful, friendly, and engaged in conversation as he was a longtime friend. So I would like to invite Mr. Joe Martinez to come up and share a few words about what this means to him.
First of all, make sure we get the good side. No, it was an honor. It's an honor for me to receive this award. I just want to thank the city of Harlingen for this. I've never had an award like this. It really meant a lot. What I said in the video, my smile was pretty large when I got the call. So it was great. I meant what I said. Our customers are everything. Without them, I wouldn't be here. So I just want to say, thank you for everything. Hopefully we can continue doing this, and or every month. I think it's going to happen, right? Business of the month. So I'm glad, and I thank the city of Harlingen. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board, and everybody. Thank you all. I really appreciate it. It was an honor. Thank you.
So we want to remind everyone to go out to Hook, Line, and Sinker and make sure that you shop local. Joe is really a class act. He's being very humble today, but there hasn't been a time that I've walked into the store that he is not working. And that says a lot, when you operate a store, you own a store, and you're there to serve your customers. So we're really blessed to have him. I know Orlando's here in the audience, and I'm hoping that he reaches out to Joe to make sure that if he needs to expand, the city of Harlingen is here to help him do that as well. Because if you walk into that store, you will learn that he needs a bigger store. So can we have the commission join Joe to take a picture? Thank you, Christina. Moving on, back up to citizen communication. Amanda, do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, Mayor, we have, I think, 9.
Okay.
And the first one is Donna Ray Leonard, and it's regarding the RGVHS Rio Grande Valley Humane Society.
Thank you.
Dawn Ray Leonard, District 2. As an animal lover and advocate, I'm here to discuss the proposed contract offered for the operation of the animal shelter. Previously, the agenda item was tabled as the Humane Society Director was not provided with the proposed changes in a timely manner. Tonight, the Humane Society contract is agenda item number 33. Why inconvenience the voting public? Why the shenanigans? Again, I ask, Madam Mayor, where is the transparency in your administration? You've offered the take-it-or-leave-it approach to the Humane Society Director. The contract was taken off the Animal Shelter Advisory Board agenda. Reason being, it falls outside the scope of the committee. Really? The mayors of Mission and Harlingen have threatened to sever ties with the Humane Society if their contractual demands are not met. They stand united. I have reviewed this document. You're setting up the Humane Society for failure. It would be impossible to abide by the terms of this proposed contract. The shelter is always operating at full capacity, and under these new terms, there will be no way to properly manage the intake. So what becomes of the animals? Well, I'll tell you, they will die by the hands of our elected officials. Then there's the deplorable condition of the city-owned shelter that has fallen into significant disrepair. The proposed contract requires the Humane Society to make undefined minor repairs and upkeep of this building at their expense. The building should be condemned. How many of you have investigated the condition of this city-owned property? Why does our health department not allow these why does the health department allow these grossly substandard conditions? Where is the Department of Agriculture? The kennels are in complete disrepair, holes in the walls, doors and door jambs are rusted or broken and won't close, broken pipes, water leaks, and mold, ceiling tiles are damaged and destroyed, and a complete and total infestation of cockroaches and mice. I propose you provide our community with a clean, safe, and suitable animal shelter facility, one where your nose and your eyes don't burn the minute you enter the building. The condition of the current facility is unsafe and a danger to staff, citizens, and the animals. Interestingly enough, the Harlingen Humane Society was recognized just last year at Wine and Whiskers for their good works, doing a phenomenal job managing the facility and caring for the animals. Director Quintanilla deserves respect for his work at the Humane Society. He's done the best he can with what he has. The man has an impossible job, so provide him with the proper tools he needs to do it, starting with a viable contract. A humane society indeed.
Thank you, Ms. Leonard.
The next one is Michelle Lerma, and also Humane Society.
Hello, how you guys doing today? My name is Misa Lerma, and I was a manager at the Humane Society. I did work there for over 13 years, so I know what it was before when it was an open intake and we were intaking animals nonstop. What happens is you euthanize nonstop. So today I'm going to be letting you know usually what happens when you intake and your volume is high is you euthanize. When I was there, I would euthanize in the morning before I even got to eat my breakfast. That's what we did. We selected the animals to choose for the animals that are be intake that day. As you know, the shelter is not built to meet the volume that is intake every day. So you have to euthanize double or more every time. After you euthanize, I would actually also euthanize before I went to lunch. And when I came back from lunch, I also euthanized. When I went home, before I euthanized. It is not right. It is not okay. If we can do something, then we should. However, how does it affect the people that work there day to day that see these animals in their eyes? you care for them, then you have to euthanize them? That don't make sense. If you increase the volume, you increase the euthanasia. For me, what it did to me, it gave me postpartum depression, PTSD. I get triggers and flashbacks all the time. Why did I do it? Because I believed it was right, but it wasn't. I saw it take a toll in my employees with no help at all from anybody. People are quick to dispose of, but turn away from the problem. It takes a toll. It takes a toll. Animals will always be rampant running. It is the community's problem. It is the reason because of us, okay? Whether we intake in full capacity or we just intake for Harlingen. The dogs are innocent in all of this. Cats, animals, they're innocent. We are the reason they are in this situation. When I would take them in to euthanize, they thought I was going to take them outside to walk them, but no, I was walking them into their death. Wagging their tails, licking my face, purring. Piles of animals, piles, every day. What we need is more education, spaying and neutering, microchipping, then you'll save more lives. Educate your community. Less intake we would intake from all cities. We would ask for other cities for help. They didn't want to help. So it's not, it was, the volume is the problem. If we concentrate in our city and make a difference, educate, spay and neuter, microchip, then maybe we could be the example for every other city, as we always have been. I wouldn't want anybody to go through what I went through. So I plead to you, do not overpopulate your shelter. You are going to hurt your employees and the animals that are there. Give them a chance to save their life. Give them a chance. They cannot save lives if they're just euthanizing and wasting, not wasting their time, but just intaking animals nonstop. Before I left, for sure, that was one of my dreams. We came from a very low save rate to a 95% save rate. That is wonderful. But that's my story. And
Thank you, Mr. Lindman. I'm so sorry to cut you off, and I know that you're passionate about this. I appreciate it, but I think we've gone over an additional minute, and we've got about 8 other people.
I appreciate it.
My door's open if you'd like to chat after.
Yes, ma'am. No problem. But thank you guys very much. I really greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
The next one is Clarissa Campos, RGV Humane Society.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm here as an animal lover. I don't have the background as he did as a former employee or the knowledge of the contract like she does, but I can just tell you what I've seen. And my daughter and I have been volunteering weekly at the shelter for the past, I'd say, 4 months since the summer. The intent was to go and sit and read to the kittens. And so we started doing that, but only after a few weeks, we couldn't even sit to read to the animals because the one chair that is used, we'd open it up and roaches would come flying out of it. We see the roaches in and out of the kittens' kennels. The kennels are in disrepair. They're falling apart. Cats are getting out and getting loose and running around. It's not safe. It's you know, you walk in, like they said, and the stench is overwhelming. I just don't know how many of you have actually been in this shelter recently. It is pretty sad. And just have my 10-year-old daughter there, wanting to see the animals and help them, but we can't. Our days have gotten shorter and shorter because we're standing there. We can't sit. We're seeing roaches coming out of the ceiling, and they're hiding in the food, and they're all over the floor. And, the staff is embarrassed, and it's not their fault. They're only doing the best that they can. I really do feel like this is an education issue for our community. The RGV is just known as not caring about animals, and that's not a good thing to be known for, that we have so many strays in our streets. And I feel like there needs to be education of, if you own an animal, you have to take care of that animal and get it spayed or neutered. But it also needs to be where I believe it is a law that you're supposed to have your animals spayed or neutered, and that's not enforced. So I feel like enforcement's another issue. I see animal control in my neighborhood all the time picking up animals, but then they come back, and it's just this endless cycle of people not taking care and securing their animals. And I feel like they need to be fined and they need to be penalized if they're letting this happen. And because if they don't spay and neuter, then we're just getting more and more on the street, and it never ends. And like I said, we've been at the shelter weekly. We see that they're overrun already, and it's constant. There's dogs in the lobby that should not be in the lobby, but there's just no space for them. And these animals, if they could talk, they would tell you, just give them a chance. I saw an adoption recently that a dog had been there for 50 days and finally got adopted. And, if we had euthanized him a week in, he wouldn't have had that opportunity. So anyway, I just wanted to say, please reconsider and help our animals and help our shelter. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Campos.
The next one is Robert Leftwich, and it just reads agenda.
Robert Leftwich, 909 East Parkwood. First of all, I just wanted to start off on the conflict of interest that's read at every meeting. I think there needs to be some other things added to that. One is collusion and contract interference. Because, Mayor, I understand that you went to Mission and you tried to interrupt a contract between the Humane Society and the City of Mission. That is tortious interference. They have an opportunity to get a different kind of fund structure over there that could have benefited the citizens of Harlingen. But because you went over there and interfered with their contract, now we're probably going to have to pay more, because you're going to force them, from what I understand, the City of Mission now wants that same contract that you guys have put together that's going to turn both facilities into kill facilities instead of foster facilities. And I think that that's totally uncalled for, and I think you owe them an apology. And if you've got time to take our city manager over there, when we've lost the Texas General Land Office grant, not once but twice, for flood money for the city of Harlingen, you guys have given away $1 million to the county of city money for a county road, but yet y'all missed all that. But you've got time to take our city manager to Mission and undermine a humane society, a nonprofit. What are they doing? Who are they threatening? They're doing us a public service. I just ask that you all consider what you're doing right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leftwich.
Veronica Howell.
Hi, Mayor. Nice to see you again. I know you remember my face. I'm a Harlingen business member here. I've been here for about 15 years. I've been living in Harlingen for 47 years, and this issue hits close to home, very close to home. Out of my house, I run my own shelter because I don't want these animals to die. So I have 14, 9 pit bulls, and the rest cats. And I use my own money, my own funds. I have seen the evolution of the Humane Society from 15 years ago, when I fell on hard times with my husband, and we walked in there with our family dog, and we gave him away. And we said to the Humane Society, I will be back for him, I promise you. Just give me a few days to get my feet on the ground. And when I went by, I kept my word. I went by 6 days later. His name was Butkus, after the dog in Rocky. And they had euthanized my dog. They had euthanized him. And to this day, my husband has PTSD about that. And I vowed that day that I would help as many animals as I possibly could. And I've kept my word. I'm very well known in the community because I rescue, I save, and you guys are an embarrassment. If my business on Tyler looks pristine when you walk in, and I service everybody out of my own pocket, why can't you guys do that? You're politicians. Shame on you. Shame on some of your smug faces that you don't care. That's embarrassing. And I will say that I've seen the evolution of the Humane Society because Ms. Kim called me a few years ago when I lost my dog, and she says, I think I have Luna here, your dog. And there she was waiting for me, and she reunited me with my dog. My dog was microchipped. They did everything. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing to have that in my community. Now I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to tell people that I'm from Harlingen because this is a kill place. You guys are puppy killers, all of you, and you have blood on your hands if you allow this to happen.
Thank you, Ms. Howell.
The next one is Dandea Bai. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Good afternoon. My name is Dendi Abayi. Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members, Commissioners. I am the Executive Director of Paws for Help. This is an animal advocacy group, and I wanted to take the time this evening to come before you, and I wanted to take the time to thank you for honoring the contract with RGV Humane Society. Your leadership has set an exemplary example of a city who wants to engage in sustainability and maintain a healthy community by operating the Valley's only no-kill shelter. For this reason, I want to commend the city and encourage you to continue this effective partnership. Because of what has transpired over the last 5 years in Harlingen, my community and mission sought RGV Humane Society out. And yes, Mayor, we are aware of what happened last week on Thursday. Very aware. And our community is extremely concerned and disappointed in mission. And that's why we're here today. We sought out RGV Humane Society over a year ago. The reason we did so was because of their exemplary service that has been provided in this city. We had other choices. We had groups that are larger, but they were our #1 choice because of their effectiveness, their stats, their companionship, and camaraderie with these animals. We advocated for them and mission said yes. The city and the community have been extremely pleased with their services and their no-kill policy in mission. From day one in February, they have increased their adoption rate 170%, and no animal has been killed for capacity reasons, which I understand you're encouraging in mission. There has been no other consideration except RGV Humane Society from the beginning, and now it comes to my attention that you're trying to interrupt that partnership and break this one down. No partnership goes without problems and ups and downs, but communication and collaboration is key. I encourage you with confidence to allocate the proper resources for additional requests that are being made by you from the city. This is not a new problem. I can guarantee you, I worked over at the shelter for 1.5 years in mission, and they had the same concerns that you do about the calls. These issues can be resolved with communication and resources. I encourage you to do the right thing. A good leadership would look at that and mastermind. I, as a taxpayer, implore you to make the right decision so that these partnerships are not affected nor discontinued. But I want you to mastermind together and find an answer to this, which is not to take away the shelter. This benefits the taxpayers and the animals' livelihood. We've fostered a community here in Harlingen, literally, that has saved lives with involvement in humane legislation with spay and neutering and education. In my community, the stats have been amazing, just like in yours. And the one issue of overcapacity and communication, those things can be resolved. Please make the right decision for your community and mine, and continue. May I continue? I'm almost done. Thank you. Sure. Please make the right decision for your community and continue with an asset right here in your own backyard, rather than tearing down something that has been an effective collaboration for your community. Please move this agenda item up from the very bottom and vote on that to keep this contract in place. And please, please, stay out of Mission. Run your city. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bailly.
That's it, Mayor, no more.
Mr. Martinez is here. Desi, did you sign up?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
that's true, Mayor.
Can you-
One more.
I see him sitting right there.
I have a Shih Tzu and I lost one. We run over by a car and a bunch of cats in the neighborhood, and we take care of what we can. I hope you all do too. Good job. Desi Martinez, 1806 Haverford. I'm here on a different aspect with economic development. In 2016, the HEDC bought land on the west side of the expressway by Roosevelt Road. For 9 years, they've had this land with intent to develop an industrial park, which is good. I wish they would have done the other side. There's plenty of land there, but they weren't able to work with the landowners. But we got what we got. They've also bought land and by the airport, 400 acres, 60 acres over here, and 60 acres over there for the health program. They've got plenty of land. One company that's come in. We need more industrial development, no doubt about it. And this may be an incentive to bring in more industries. I will help the EDC what they can. I'm a private economist. That's what I do for a living. But the protocol that they use, the simple planning department, I tell you don't have a planning department. You have a small little group of people who do you have 500 pages of work they do. I'm not saying they don't do work. But a comprehensive plan is not just the pictures and the little lines. In that park, Hancock Road is in the city of Primera. And we have that corner in 2 districts, Wilson Road, Hand Road, etc., that we have with our neighbors. It's a growth area. In fact, Primera has 12 new subdivisions. Homes, ni hablar, they got several subdivisions, residential. We have 2 major schools in that area, etc. You know the drill. But the point is, when you talk about thoroughfares, it's not just about one line. It's about the comprehensive of the area. And I ask you to do another study before you act, because we've been through a simple protocol for a lot that's being rezoned as far as an area that's going to have an industrial area, which is in a residential and very trafficked and flooded. It's in a flood-prone area. There's work to do. When they met in 2002, August the 9th, I don't know who met, but if I was the engineer, I'm not an engineer, and the council, I would have said we need a thoroughfare plan in this area, because this is going to impact the whole area in terms of traffic. Life and safety comes first, y'all, in my business and your business. We all do that. Why can't we do that here? I asked that you do a study. If the park needs to delete part of it, that Hanson, we need also the other part possibly for drainage. They haven't talked to Rolando about the easements. We need easements to build ditches, etc., to the main drainage there. So please, on item number 8, please table it for us so we can work with your staff, because you just went through the minimal and not what is really necessary to make it thorough, comprehensive, safe traffic planning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Mr. Coronado, did you sign up to speak? Would you like to speak? I see him in this list, Amanda.
I don't see Mr.
Good evening, Rudy Coronado, District 3, founder of the newly formed Paws Over Harlingen. I've spoken before, and the people that spoke before me stated nothing but facts, and those facts are very disturbing, okay? Norma, yeah, that was wrong of you, to go to Mission, to lead Mission, to take Gabriel and to take Shannon over there and act like tyrants, okay? Trying to muscle Luis into doing something that's not in his heart. That's just wrong, Norma. It really is. I want to thank everybody that's supported me. Commissioner Mesmer, thank you for your time and your support. Commissioner Morales, thank you for your time and support. Commissioner Kinsley, thank you for your time. I don't know where you stand yet. And I prayed the last few days that we get your support. I really have. Jeez, man. Bettis and Lopez, please, all right? Please, don't continue doing what you've been doing in reference to the Humane Society and that contract. Making excuses, a bit of lip service. Don't do it, please, okay? Don't, all right? There's people out there that care, all right? That care about giving a dog 3 days past their due date to be euthanized. I know about euthanizing. I told you my history, okay? My very first job was at the Humane Society at the Taft Shelter, all right? I lasted 3.5 weeks. Week 3, we got into euthanizing dogs. My first job, 15 years old, I had to hold them down, and they'd stick them in the heart with a green fluid, and they'd die. My last day at work, there was a Great Dane there that I had to hold down. They stuck him in the heart, he didn't go down. Stuck him in the heart again, we're on the floor. Third shot, he finally went down. I walked out of there crying, walked home, ashamed that I had quit a job. I didn't go back there. He talked about PTSD. You wonder why I do what I do. In my community, all right? I do it alone. I do it with Nikki. I do it with Bree. I do it with a lot of people back here supporting us, all right? Once again, don't continue doing what you're doing with this contract with the Humane Society, all right? We're just trying to save dogs and cats past 3 days. If we accept your terms on that contract, it's death. It's death again for dogs and cats in the city of Harlingen. We're better than that, Norma. You know that. Mr. City Manager, you know that as well. Every commissioner up there, you guys know that. Let's not go there, okay? A lot has been said and done. Let's leave that alone. Let's move forward today and let's unite. Let's communicate. Let's negotiate, Norma. That's what we have to do. Sit down, face to face, all of us, the community, the advocates, everybody. Let's sit down, okay? Let's leave everything in the past as of today, and let's move forward and do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gobernador. Are you sure? Okay. Thank you. And I appreciate everyone coming out and sharing their concerns and their comments. And the entire commission is here to listen to what you have to say. I want to address a few things, or just one thing really, at this point. And I know there's a lot of new faces in the room. Welcome. I hope you come to all of the meetings and not just this meeting. You're welcome all the time. But typically, just as a little background, when items are in executive session, they're usually at the end of every agenda. That's the way that it occurs in every city meeting, every city commission. It's nothing new today. And so there is an item on the agenda that is an executive session, and then there is an item to follow that, which is item 33. So that is how it is conducted at all times. So it is not, don't want anybody to be misled to believe that it is intentionally placed at the end of the agenda because we don't want to take any action. That is far from the truth. It is placed there because it is mostly because of executive session. However, we do have the ability, and I do this on occasion, and you saw it just a bit ago, where we took the proclamations before citizen communication. So because there's people in the room and needing to get them out and on their way. Similar today, I'm going to ask this commission to take executive session first, so that way we can come back and address the issue, because all of you are here waiting. And that is definitely the right thing to do, but I want you to understand that there's procedures, and that is the reason why it is listed as item number 3. And item number 3, I don't know if everybody has an agenda, but I would encourage you to always have a copy of the agenda. Item 33 says, consideration and possible action to approve an extension for 60 days for the current contract with the Humane Society. What that means is that there is no decision-making today. This is what I think Mr. Coronado mentioned, a negotiation. This is good faith on the city of Harlingen trying to work together with the RGV Humane Society. I have walked the Humane Society. I was just there this week. I have gone previously. I've had multiple conversations with leadership, with the executive director, with some of the board members. There's nothing here that is wanting to break that partnership with the Humane Society. We applaud everything that the Humane Society has done, and I tell them in my conversations with them when we speak. This is merely renewing a contract. Every time there's a contract, and it expires and it comes up for renewal, you review that contract, and sometimes there are amendments, sometimes there are changes, and that is what happens at every budget cycle. This is nothing different. The issue and the problem, just so that way those of you, and I think there's a lot of misinformation going around, I think what we need to understand, and I think Ms. Howell talked about, that there was a time, and I wrote it down, because I like to, and so when I'm writing things, it's because I'm taking notes, not because I'm not trying to listen to you. But she mentioned a story that was very moving, and I hear these stories all the time. And this story specifically was that she fell on hard times, and she went to the shelter to leave her pet there because that was the best place for that pet to survive. So that way it is in the hands of someone that's going to care for it while she could do the things that she needed to do and come back 6 days later. What would have happened if Mrs. Howe in the situation wouldn't have been able to leave the pet? Oh, this was an injustice, right? It should not have happened. None of us were here at that time. But there are countless people that go to the shelter wanting to surrender a pet so that way they can ensure that it has a better life, because they maybe have fallen ill, maybe they have a new diagnosis of cancer, maybe they are falling on hard times and don't have the finances to take care of it, maybe they have a new baby. And those of you that have had new babies, you know that sometimes animals don't always, they're territorial, and sometimes they're the babies. And maybe they just are in a small apartment and can't have that pet. So they go to the shelter and they want to be able to surrender that pet. Citizens of Harlingen only. Citizens of Harlingen go to the shelter and say, please take my pet because I cannot handle it right now. And citizens of Harlingen have that right. And that is the partnership with the Humane Society, to make sure that folks that are down on their luck, want to attempt to go to the shelter, are spoken to with compassion and talked to in a way that they can ease the pain that they are going through and accept that pet and give it a better opportunity to survive, right? That is what we're trying to do. Only the citizens of Harlingen, because we get calls indicating that they call the shelter and no one answers. They call the shelter and no one answers for 5 days in a row, and no one answers the phone. Imagine being desperate and no one answers the phone. That is a problem. But I am confident that we will find solutions. I have calls at folks that tell me, I want to surrender my pet. They tell me to go home and fill out a form online. I can't do that. I don't have access online. So I get someone to help me do it. Once I do that, they tell me the wait for me to surrender my pet is 3 months, 90 days to surrender my pet. I don't know how I'm going to put food on the table tomorrow. Those are real issues, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about taking care of the citizens of Harlingen. The way that we do this is we ensure we check their identity document, make sure they're citizens of Harlingen, utility bill to ensure that they live in the city of Harlingen, and we treat people with respect and compassion when they're down on their luck. This is not an open door policy. This is treating people that are needing help at the time and opening your doors. That is what this is about. And so I am confident, like I've mentioned with leadership, that we will come up with a solution so that when they are at capacity, that there are protocols in place to take care of those folks, so that way there are no issues and the citizens of Harlingen are taken care of, because when we use property tax money at the tune of $400,000 to donate to the Humane Society to provide a service, citizens of Harlingen have to be able to take advantage of that service. And that is all we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. And I know that we are going to be able to come up with a contract that is going to reflect language that promotes their mission of taking care of animals, dogs and cats alike. Okay. I understand. Okay. And so there are proper procedures here, and so we have to be orderly, and we can't talk from the audience, but I'm more than happy to talk to you after the meeting if you like. What I'm trying to tell you is the sky is not falling, the contract is not over. There's a 60-day extension being offered to the Humane Society so that they can come up with language to be able to ensure that we're taking care of the citizens of Harlingen in a compassionate way and having protocols in place that are available to the citizens when you are at capacity. There's no open door policy. This is not free for all. No one other than the citizens of Harlingen will be able to take their animals to the Humane Society. That is not being offered. There is no condition that this become a free-for-all or that we are promoting euthanasia. So I just want to leave you with that. And we are going to take this item along with others in executive session so that way we can come back to that item for all of you that are here waiting on that item.
We need a motion to go into executive session.
Yes.
I move to go into executive session.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The time is now 6:24, and we will be in executive session and be out shortly. Thank you. Okay. The time is now 7:25, and we are out of executive session. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being patient. We do have discussion. Okay. Item 32, we have a possible action.
33.
This one says discussion and possible action on the route we're
Oh, yeah.
Does he need a motion?
Mark, do you need a motion on the right way?
On
Yes,
32?
to proceed is discussed.
Okay.
Okay.
So item number 32, do we have a motion to proceed as discussed in executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, consideration and possible action to approve an extension for 60 days for the current contract with the Humane Society of Harlingen and the City of Harlingen.
Yeah. I would like to make a motion, but with the adjustment of not 60 days, but 120 days.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Wonderful. And I am confident that the City of Harlingen and the RGV Humane Society will be able to work this out to ensure that we have a continued partnership. Now, moving on to approval of minutes. We have items A and B, the regular meeting of November 2nd, 2022, and the regular meeting of September 6th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item 2, consent agenda, all items with the exception of item I. Is there a motion to approve?
Just a sec, please. If at all possible, I'd like to pull section A and Q. I have a question or two on both.
A and Q. Okay.
And M as well.
Great, guys. N?
A?
N? N like
M as
Nancy?
in mom, M as in Mike.
All right. Okay, so is there a motion to approve the consent agenda absent items A, I, M, and Q?
Motion.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item 2A, consideration and possible action to approve an amendment to contract number HHS 001019500021 between the City of Harlingen and the Department of State Health Services, deleting and replacing in its entirety is attachments and statements of work. Commissioner?
Yes, Shannon?
Yes, sir.
I'm curious, in going through the attachment, I don't see any, the original statement that's supposed to be deleted. Is there a reason behind it?
This is just the updated amendment version. What they did, y'all approved one a few weeks ago as well. Rider 40 required that we can no longer advertise COVID-19 vaccines only.
Okay.
We would have to do all vaccines to advertise them, so this grant was related to COVID-19, so they've just removed the COVID-19 terminology.
Okay.
That's all they've done.
And that was an attachment we had the last
Yes.
meeting.
Yes. Any other questions, Commissioner?
That's it?
All right. Do we have a motion to approve item A?
Motion?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item I, consideration and possible action to approve an agreement with Marine Military Academy for the use of hotel motel funds for promotion of tourism by maintaining the Iwo Jima Monument. And for the record, Commissioner Kinsley has abstained from voting on this item. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item M, consideration and possible action to approve the installation of 2 speed humps on R Street. Commissioner Bettis?
Yes, I wanted to add to the one that's already listed. I want to add on Sunchase Drive from South Palm Boulevard to Sunnyside Drive. And one on Sun Country Drive from South Palm Boulevard to Suncrest Drive.
You got that, Oscar? Yes, okay. And this means to do the test,
The
right?
test,
And all
yes,
that
the
good stuff.
test.
Okay, wonderful. Is there an item, is there a motion to approve with these amendments?
Motion approved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item Q, consideration and possible action to approve a request from Aaron Gracia, Harlingen High School South Assistant Principal, to close the following streets. Did you abstain?
No, I need to abstain from this one.
Okay, so the record reflect that Commissioner Bettis is abstaining from this item. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Excuse me, Mayor, what item was that?
Q.
Q?
Okay.
That's the one that I'm looking for.
Q. Wonderful, okay. This is the one I had mentioned to you, correct? No? Okay. Is that one on here? Are we-
we didn't have time to put it on, but we're going to try to do that administratively.
Okay. Please,
Yes.
Okay.
We've already sent it to the chief of police.
all right.
You did, okay.
Okay, great.
So I'll just move it
Just
along.
more street closures, folks, so
Yeah.
for the district, we want to support them. Okay,
Yes.
motion to approve?
I made the motion to approve.
And there was a
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And that is it for the consent agenda. Going to take things a little bit out of order since folks have been waiting. If we can move to item 11, consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading to abandon and vacate a 15-foot utility easement being of 0.167 acre tract of land out of lots 10 and 11, Block 1, Madero subdivision, and approval of an alternative utility easement being a 0.13 acre tract of land out of Lot 10, Block 1, Madero subdivision, located on the east side of Dilworth, approximately 1,130 feet south of Business 83. Javier?
Mayor, City Commission, good evening. So that this is the easement that is proposed to be abandoned, is proposed to be relocated to the north side and east side. The property owner owns these 2 lots, and this easement is right in the middle of the 2 lots, and so he's proposing to build his house right in the middle of the 2 lots, and that's why that easement needs to be relocated. There's no utilities in the existing utility easement. All the utility companies have approved, so the easement will be relocated. Staff recommends approval.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Is there any discussion? No? Second? Second. Do you have a question, Commissioner? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Javier, and thank you, Mr. Ortiz. There you go. Thank you. Yes, sir. All right. Moving back to item 3. Consideration and possible action to adopt an ordinance on first reading amending ordinance number 18 through 28, establishing updated fines and fees charged by the City of Harlingen Public Library. I did see, are these attachments? Did you, everybody review?
I was at the meeting.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I just want to commend you. I think what you're doing at the library and getting rid of the fines, I think that's a great thing for the community, and it encourages a lot of the kids to keep on reading at the library. So great job, you and your staff.
Thank you. Absolutely, thank you. We'd love to hear you, but we know that you're doing a phenomenal job. You did a great job providing us the information we needed, and just keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, I have one more.
Okay. Item 4, consideration and possible action to adopt an ordinance on first reading amending Chapter 26, Article 2, Lansing Hill Library. Is there discussion? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank
Mayor, I
you.
would like to add that she's got great library cards now, with the Harlingen Hawks and, oh, you're gonna pull yours out.
I challenge all, yes, I challenge all the other commissioners to get one of these, limited edition HCISD card, and pay attention to the Hawk.
Love it. I love it. Thank you. And honestly, great job out there. Y'all are doing a great job. Item 5, consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading amending the Harlingen Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Ordinance Number 2018-1, Master Fee Schedule Exhibit A, establishing new rental rates for vendors and food booths. And Cassandra. All right ahead.
Yes, ma'am. We increased the price of the food booths to be $500 for this year's Rio Fest. It is a 2-day festival, and this year we have a lot of vendors applying to be a part of it. And so this rate is very low still in comparison to the Valley, and we do not take a percentage of sales of the vendors. So that is a good compromise for us for the $500 for the vendors. We've charged $250 for Freedom Fest, and this is a 2-day event, so it's comparable to our pricing that we have at the moment.
And lots of our neighboring cities do take a portion, which eats
They
into
charge
their
a
profits,
percentage
right?
of sales, and we do not do that. We encourage our local businesses to keep their proceeds, and we just want to make sure we give them a place to to sell, essentially, at our festivals.
Awesome.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Personally, I think it's, you said it's $250, you doubled it to $500?
$250 a day is what we charge for, or $250 for Freedom Fest is what we charge, and it's a 5-hour event. So this is a 16-hour event that they're going to pay $500 for. And they do get a tent and a storefront signage on it. So they do not need to bring in a tent. This price essentially just covers the tent and the lighting that we put inside of the tents.
And those people with the food truck?
The food truck, there's only a limited amount, but they pay the same $500 because they take up more space than a food vendor would.
All right, here's my issue.
Yes,
At
sir.
$500, they're already in the hole for $500. Then they have to buy the inventory.
Yes.
Okay, and if they happen to have employees, before you know it, they have to have 2,500 in sales, 3,000 to break even. I think 500 is too much. If you leave it at 250, some of those tax, if we have enough people, well, this is food, they do charge taxes on food, don't they?
They charge a flat rate, I believe, for their each business charges their own amount. So if it's a $10 plate, they charge.
They're supposed to, Commissioner.
Yeah. They
Okay,
charge, they have their own, they add the
But
tax
they-
themselves.
Okay, so they tax themselves. So the thing is, if it's at 250, or if you want to go 500, and they have to break even at 3,000, any food sales that they make, there's taxes involved, and that provided the vendor is registered in Harlingen, we're gonna get some of those proceeds via taxes, correct?
For the event, they get a health permit at the, like food vendors do. If they're a truck, they pay a yearly subscription to that, and they do report their own taxes. We do not get any of that, yeah.
I understand that.
Yes.
But my point is, once XYZ sells a product,
Yes.
food product, and they charge taxes, just like a convenience store, all right, or a retail store, they have to pay taxes to the state comptrollers.
Yes.
Which means we, as a city, will get a little bit of, we'll get a portion of that.
Yes.
Okay, so it would behoove us to make sure that they sell more instead of trying to break even.
Yes,
All right, so-
I do understand.
Okay, so my thing is, I think it's too much. If you left it, if you want to go 300 instead of 250 for a few extra hours, I'm in favor, but at $500, I can see to where some of the vendors are gonna be in a bind.
We've had a
Because-
lot sign up already, just, the vendors did do very well last year, and they're all coming back. We have a large increase, actually, of people requesting to be a part of the event this year, and they've all agreed to the $500 price. If you all agree to a different price, then we'll let them know the change.
I want to just chime in here. I
Yes,
want to make
ma'am.
sure that the commission understood clearly that for other festivals like the Freedom Fest, it's
It's a one day.
250 because it's one day.
It's a full day event,
Right,
yes.
and so if we're going to have a 3-day event, then they would pay more than what they would for one day, correct?
Yes, that
And
is
and
our
that the
reason.
individual vendor knows what the cost is.
Yes.
And they could guesstimate it's worth it or it's not. And those who guesstimate it's not worth it, they won't show.
And we're still lower than our neighboring cities.
Oh, yes,
right?
definitely than Sombrero Fest, than the other cities. We are definitely lower than them.
How many vendors are from Harlingen and how many are outside?
We don't have a exact ratio, I think maybe how other events do it, but we definitely choose from Harlingen first.
So you don't have an idea how many vendors are from Harlingen for this?
No, I do not have we are still collecting information on vendors, sir. I couldn't tell you a percentage that are. Last year, I would say probably 85% were from Harlingen. This year, we have more increase from neighboring cities that want to be a part of it. Last year was mostly Harlingen vendors.
Has anybody complained to you about the fee?
No, sir.
And the idea here, Cassandra, is that we could at least try to break even on this
Yes,
event, right?
yeah.
So, because it's very expensive to put on such an
Yes, ma'am.
awesome, massive event, right?
It is, initially, we just would like to cover the tents that we provide for it to look all the same and to look nice and neat for the vendors and the people that join us. And they get a storefront signage and lighting inside of it'll be on the outside of their tent. So it'll be like some bistro lighting on the outside of their tent. And we just want to cover the cost of that.
I make a motion to approve the cost increase.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 6, public hearing to adopt an ordinance on first reading for a rezoning request from not designated district to residential multifamily district for 19.94 acres of land out of Block 28, Petersburg Syndicate subdivision located along the west side of Brazil Road, approximately 1,668 feet north of Spur 54. Javier.
Yes, this is a property that was annexed into the city limits about 2 months ago. So now they're coming in for the request to rezone it to multifamily residential. That's the proposal for the property. That's the survey of the property. Is almost 20 acres. Photo from Brazil's Road. The aerial. It's not designated in the comprehensive plan since it was outside the city limits when the plan was prepared. This went before Planning and Zoning Commission last week, and no one showed up in opposition, and they recommended approval unanimously.
Questions from the commission? No discussion? At this time, we'll open it up for a public hearing. Is there anyone here wishing to speak for or against the adoption of this ordinance? Yes, sir.
Jesse Martinez, 1806. In terms of flood-prone areas, at main areas near main drainages that we have in that area, it would be wise, as a former builder, that the planning department also asks the developer to have their civil engineer assess if it's a FEMA flood-prone area. And the recommendations of FEMA is that you have built that site, or those home sites, 1.5 feet above the FEMA level that they have. I don't know if there's a FEMA or not. I'm pro-building. There's no problem with that. My concern is that we continue to pass subdivisions, and that's good. There's actual investment. What's bad is that we're not following any FEMA recommendations in terms of avoiding floods inside homes. We understand that when there's flooding on the road, maybe on the lawn, but we experienced 218 and 219, and we need to step it up a grade or two and make sure that any developments provide safe and sound developments, so that the rates of property insurance in our area, once we continue this method, it can improve the rates, either cap them or bring them down as we go forward in the next generation or two into developing residential housing. I think that needs to be incorporated and studied by the planning department to incorporate to all developments and all plats coming in, preliminary and otherwise, so that from day one, that the developer developing these lots have a finished floor where they get that recommended by FEMA in their FEMA maps.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Is there anyone else wishing to speak for or against the adoption of this ordinance? Having no one else to speak, we'll close the public hearing at this time. Any discussion from the commission? Questions from the
No. The thing is that I would like to make a motion to proceed with the adoption of making sure FEMA's recommendations are intact to avoid any potential drainage issues in the future.
So there is a subdivision in process.
Okay.
So they're having to comply with all the city drainage requirements. Any subdivisions that come in that are in flood zones, they're having to address the requirements for the flood zones. So all of that is done during the subdivision process.
So we're good to go.
Yes, right now it's just the zoning. During the zoning process, we notify the surrounding property owners to see if anyone has any objections to the multifamily zoning. And
It's been a long night, Javier. Keep going, please.
Don't time him.
I said I was gonna time him, you said he was okay.
No.
No.
so for the proposed subdivision, they're in full compliance with our drainage. It's not a flood zone. So right now is the zoning. The good thing is the surrounding property owners have no objections to the multifamily zoning, so staff recommends approval, PNC recommended approval.
Okay. So does that satisfy?
Perfect.
Okay, so there's a motion from Commissioner Morales. Is there a second? Or-
Second.
I'm sorry, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Now have the city attorney read the caption, please.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, ordinance number 16-8 of the city of Harlingen to rezone from non-designated District N to residential multifamily M2 district for 19.94 acres of land at a Block 28, Petersburg Syndicate subdivision located along the west side of Brazil Road, approximately 1,668 feet north of Spur 54.
And now we have a motion, Commissioner?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Javier, and just stay where you are.
Yes.
No timer, Ms. Amanda. Item 7, public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance on first reading amending the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 111, zoning, Article 1, Section 111-1, definitions by adding a definition for a solar farm, and Article 3, Section 111-62 by establishing a category for a solar farm in the use chart, providing for publication and ordaining other matters related to the foregoing.
Yes, so if you remember, the company gave a presentation 1 month ago on a proposal for solar farms in the, next to the airport. So this is the ordinance that will allow the company to apply for a special use permit in the future when they're ready. So this is just a tool that will allow them to try it through a special use permit. So if this is adopted and then they apply, we notify the surrounding property owners, they have an opportunity to object. We're able to put conditions on the special, similar to the battery storage projects that we had earlier.
Okay. Is there any discussion for
One
Javier?
question. How much time do they have, I'm talking, referencing the company that wants to build the solar, once this gets approved?
So this is just a tool to apply, right? So they may apply right away, or it could be 6 months later when they're ready with a site plan and an approved drainage report. If they go through the process and they're successful in getting the SUP, it could be right away that they start construction, or it could be 1 year out, depending on their process.
I just wanted an idea, so we can say about a year to maybe a year and a half, and they.
Yes, if everything goes according to plan.
And as I recall, they're waiting on the FAA to approve this also.
Yes, they have to work with the FAA and with the airport, so there's a lot of hurdles. But they feel confident that they can overcome it.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we're going to open this up for a public hearing. Is there anyone here wishing to speak for or against the adoption of this ordinance? Having no one here to speak for or against, we'll close the public hearing and ask the city attorney to read the caption.
An ordinance amending the City of Harlingen Code of Ordinances, Chapter 111, zoning, Article 1, Section 111-1, definitions, by adding a definition for a solar farm, and Article 3, Section 111-62, use chart, by establishing a category for a solar farm in the use chart, providing for publication and ordaining other matters related to the foregoing.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance on first reading amending the City of Harlingen Comprehensive Plan, One Vision, One Harlingen, Chapter 2, Figure 2.1 Thoroughfare Plan by removing the proposed extension of Hancock Drive as a major collector road south of Primero Road to Wilson Road. Javier?
Yeah, so I gave a presentation about this 1 month ago. As you know, the EDC has a subdivision in the works in that area, and this thoroughfare negatively affects the proposed subdivision. The EDC officials and the city engineer and I had a meeting, and we agreed that this thoroughfare is not really needed. It's 1/4 mile from Expressway 77, so that's why we're recommending removing this roadway from the thoroughfare plan.
Any questions for Javier?
Sorry, me.
That's okay.
Would you go back to the previous? I guess that'll be fine. So the dotted yellow, you're gonna extend, the proposal is to go from Hancock Drive, from the solid, all the way down to, what is it, Wilson?
This is Wilson, and that's Primera Road. And
Okay.
this is Hancock, it's just a residential street here, and in the thoroughfare plan, it's proposing to extend it down
Okay.
to Wilson.
Right where Hancock Drive is currently, you're gonna have 18-wheelers go through that residential?
Yeah, and there's also houses here that will have to be removed, and it's a 30-foot street. It's just, it will be very difficult to do this street, and it's so close to Expressway 77, as a north-south corridor.
Javier, I think the idea is to have access to that subdivision from the expressway, not necessarily through the neighborhood.
This is the proposed subdivision for the EDC, and they're proposing an access from the
Okay,
expressway.
so you're not gonna go through the neighborhood at all?
No.
No, the idea is to actually eliminate that road, so it won't be constructed. And that's what this particular item will do, it'll eliminate it from coming.
Going south?
Yes, sir. It's not gonna go through there.
Okay,
So they won't be able to access this subdivision from Hancock Road, because it won't extend in there.
Okay.
You see the road is gonna come, right? That's the
Yeah.
idea?
Yeah, so you have a main entrance from the expressway here, and then you can have a cul-de-sac here. If we have to implement the thoroughfare plan, they will have to do this all the way across.
Okay, so
Um,
basically, excuse the interruption. So the only way they're gonna be able to access that area is through, I'm gonna call it 77, I-69? That's it?
Yes. Yeah, from right here.
They're right there.
Okay. Backtrack to the other, right there. Believe it or not, I was out in that
And
area
also
earlier today.
on Roosevelt. They'll have access to Roosevelt.
They'll have access to Wilson Road?
These lots will have access to Roosevelt. Yeah.
Okay,
just-
they'll
but
have
just-
access to what?
But that'll be, that one lot will have access to Wilson Road, but that'll be like a private drive into that particular lot. You want to go back, Javier? See right there? They'll have like a private drive into that one lot, but it won't connect to the actual street itself and to the cul-de-sac.
So that street right there where it is, it's what? Is it Wilson Road or is it Roosevelt?
On the south
This is
side of
Roosevelt.
Wilson.
That's Roosevelt.
That's Roosevelt.
Oh, I'm sorry, Roosevelt.
So all
So
the trucks
this-
will,
This shows the subdivision and the area.
that's where you're
the
looking
subdivision.
to expand?
That's the subdivision, yeah.
Okay,
So the thoroughfare plan shows that a street is supposed to go right across the middle of the subdivision. So they will have to build a street connecting like that. And so it just really affects how the EDC wants to develop the property.
I'm getting more confused, but go back to the other one, please. El otro, there you go. That red box is where the trucks will remain, and that's the area you're looking at developing.
The EDC, yeah, the EDC has the subdivision here.
Okay,
Hey,
All right.
Commissioner, if I can kind of explain, the yellow dots that you see is what Hancock Road would have looked like, but we're proposing to eliminate it.
okay, I understand that.
Okay.
So they'll have access to and from I-69 only.
Correct.
Okay. Now, off to the left, everybody's left of the Hancock and down to Wilson Road, we're aware of, there's 2 elementary schools. We have the county access, county building, plus there's gonna be not 1, but 2 subdivisions off of Han Road and Wilson Road. If anybody's driven there during 8 o'clock in the morning, or at noon, or at 3 o'clock, there's a lot of congestion. Okay, have we done, are you guys trying to do a traffic study? Because those 18-wheelers, even though they're gonna go straight to I-69, they're gonna go south. And there's gonna be some major issues there. There's plenty of congestion already. So why don't we consider doing a traffic study?
They want to remove all the dotted line.
No, I understand that. Okay, but once those 18-wheelers hit I-69 and go south, because that's the only way they can go.
Correct, on the
They're-
frontage road.
Correct, and they're gonna go right into Wilson Road, that's the intersection. Okay? You're gonna have 2 subdivisions right next to the, actually, 1 subdivision that's gonna be right off of Wilson Road and Han Road. That's 49 houses, and then north of Han Road, passing the railroad tracks, you're gonna have another subdivision with 90 homes. So you're gonna have an influx of residents. All of that area is gonna be more congested. That's what I'm getting to. And we need to take that into consideration.
So you don't want the EDC to build that property?
What I'm asking for is a traffic study. That's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking cancel what's been in the works for, I don't know, 6 months or a year. All I'm asking for is a traffic study to make sure that we don't make that area more congested. That's it.
I'm just. Okay, so is there any other discussion? No? Javier, do you have any comments?
Well, a traffic study could be done. It will have to be funded by the EDC, right? But yeah, it could certainly be done. So this could be, after the public hearing is held, this could be tabled for, for a traffic study.
Well, I think they've got time issues that they're trying to deal with
Yeah.
regarding a potential economic development client that wants to locate there, so.
Yeah,
Correct.
And I don't know how 4 or 6 trucks a day are going to destroy traffic patterns.
Okay. So what we'll do at this time, thank you for that, and staff recommendations for approval.
Correct.
And so at this time, we're going to open it up for a public hearing. Is there anyone here wishing to speak for or against the adoption of this ordinance?
I don't have a problem, Desi Martinez, again, you all. I have a problem with Mr. Bessemer that thinks that I'm a funny guy, but I'm not. I'm a very serious man in my business, as you are in yours. But the only thing in my question was that anytime you do a thoroughfare change, the word thoroughfare means large, area. In terms of comprehensive plan, it means comprehensiveness. And the comprehensiveness of this is that you have 3 communities, and we're supposed to be acting like a metro area, small metro area that we are, and to conduct a feasibility study, not to stop the project. If they're going to go in and out, go for it, into the expressway. Might have had a misread or what have you, because I saw the dotted line that just proposes extension. I apologize for the misunderstanding. But from that point at Roosevelt down, if there's an easement with a demand for easements in our community, including the rural areas, to develop ponding or flood storage of waters, if there's an easement existing, I don't want that abandoned. We should ask Rolando, the district, can you use that for a drainage ditch to our main drain that's right by there? And in fact, it goes by there, goes across the street to where my brother's house flooded over at Secluded Acres and Spanish Acres. That's a comprehensiveness of things that we lack. And what Commissioner Lopez was talking about, when we see an area that's booming, it is, because we don't have enough affordable housing in Harlingen, city limits. It's growing in Primera and Combs. Combs has 12 subdivisions Primera, and 12 in the works. And we're going to have a lot of kids and children out there, and it's important that, and I was talking to the police chief, that the police chief come into those meetings with these folks that are doing these very comprehensive plan, Vision 1. My Vision 1 is to leave for the generations of the future the opportunity their homes don't flood, that we've done everything possible, utilize all our assets that we have in that area. It doesn't explain that. They didn't go a page forward that we need to go. And that's where we asked for change when we elected you in this last election, that we be more comprehensive, not just a vision that was developed by these folks in planning, but the people's needs out there as well. And traffic, have the chief come in, give their recommendations with traffic safety director and how it's all going to function. That way people will be happy. Everybody knows what's going on. Not just satisfy the EDC. The EDC is great. I don't have a problem helping them out too. But we got to do things right, Mayor, Commissioners. That's all I'm asking. Pass this thing, fine, but from Roosevelt down, if that's going to be an abandonment of an easement, that we consider using it and have a study done.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Is there anyone else here wishing to speak for or against the adoption of this ordinance? Having no one else here to speak, we'll close the public hearing at this time, and I'll ask the city attorney to read the caption.
An ordinance amending the City of Harlingen Comprehensive Plan, One Vision, One Harlingen, Chapter 2, Figure 2.1 Thoroughfare Plan by removing the proposed extension of Hancock Drive as a major collector road south of Primera Road to Wilson Road, providing for publication and ordaining other matters related to the foregoing.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries. Okay. I'm going to take things a little out of order, sorry. So that's item 9. I see Boys and Girls Club probably wants to go home, so if we can just skip on down to item 19, consideration and possible action to approve a contract with the Boys and Girls Club of Harlingen for fiscal year 2024 in the amount of $140,104 for the youth service programs, and authorize the city manager to sign the contract. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 20, the consideration and possible action to approve a contract with the Boys and Girls Club of Harlingen for fiscal year 2024 in the amount of $145,757 for teen service programs, and authorize the city manager to sign the contract. Motion?
Motion.
I have a question, if I may.
Yes.
Javier, going through this, apparently, this is working with Los Vecinos, Lemoyne Gardens, and Bonita Park.
Yes, sir.
On the elementary side, there's elementary schools nearby. On this particular one, you still use the same 3 entities. What are the middle schools that are nearby that benefit from this?
I defer that to Gerald.
I would like to add, though, that the $30,000 that we took from him, from CDBG, was added to this particular contract. So this was increased by $30,000 to make up for that difference.
This funding is, Gerald Gathright, Director, Boys and Girls Club. This funding is traditionally supports all 4 of the Harlingen clubs. We have a 5th club in Primera. It provides for operational services, both for teenagers and for elementary age children at those 4 sites. It's more of a general funding. The funding we have always received in the past from CDBG was designated for the satellite units located at elementary schools, Lamar, Ben Milam, and our Lemoyne Gardens Club, because they serve a low, moderate income clientele as prescribed by federal law. And so those funds are designated directly towards those units. These funds service every citizen, children that chooses to take part here in Harlingen. All are eligible. They're not income driven, in other words. They just happen to be located in areas where low to moderate income families typically live.
Okay, because it kind of basically repeats itself on the other one, as far as satellite units located within the adjacent to 3 public housing developments. Now I understand that it also services the rest of the community.
Yes, sir.
Not just these 3.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Yes, sir. Are there any other questions while I'm?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
Is there any other questions for Mr. Gerald? No? Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much, Gerald.
And if I may please give my regards, our thanks of all of our organization for the support of our city family and city fathers. Again, we appreciate you all very much, and we pledge to be good stewards of every dollar that we receive.
And I know you will. We thank you so much for all the hard work you do and what you do for our community. God bless you, because I know it's a hard job, but you've been doing it for a long time. Thank you. Okay, is David here for the pump track, Javier? Is he? No? Okay.
I believe they're preparing for the race in
Yes.
October.
Okay, so we don't have to go to that. Or you want me to do that right now?
It's up to you if you want to.
I'll just go back. I had seen him here, but
Yes.
I didn't know if he was waiting on me. Okay. So back to item 9. Is that right? Consideration and possible action to approve the preliminary construction plans and final plat with conditions for the proposed Liberty Subdivision Lot 1 replat bearing a legal description of 61.26 acres of land comprised of all Lot 1, Block 1 Liberty Subdivision along the west side of FM 509 across from Millennium Drive.
Yes, Mayor, this is the other EDC subdivision. This is on FM 509 south of Grimes. So they're proposing to split the property into three lots, as shown there. And the reason why it's coming before you is they're proposing to widen the ditch to comply with the drainage requirements.
Yes. And is there any questions for Javier? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
No, we're still.
Item 10, consideration and possible action to approve the preliminary construction plans and final plat with conditions of the proposed Logan's Ranch subdivision bearing a legal description of 21.43 acres of land out of Block 21 of the David and Stevens subdivisions located on the west side of Briggs Coleman Road and North Loop 499.
Mayor, if you remember, a few months ago, we amended the subdivision ordinance to allow subdivisions in the ETJ to not have to have curb and gutter. This is the first one to take advantage of that. They're proposing to widen the ditch along the south side and east side, and that's why it's coming before you, to comply with the drainage requirements.
Okay. Is there any questions for Javier? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. We already took up item 11. Item 12, consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance on second and final reading adopting the City of Harlingen's annual budget for fiscal year 2024 by record vote. And I got Robert. You have anything?
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. This is the second and final reading. There were no changes since the first reading, and we are proposing $106,193,426 in revenue and $103,313,573 in expenditures, 574 in expenditures. And this does have to be a record vote.
Right.
Mayor, Commissioner Mesmar is not here.
I know. We need to
there you go.
pass on this one for,
If we could,
just so that way we can keep moving.
Sure.
What about, and the budget, let's wait for him
yeah,
to.
all next three items would require a record vote.
All right, Finance, let's
Oh, here
just
it
have a
comes.
seat. Okay, here he is. Man of the hour. Okay, so, Commissioner, we are on item 12 to approve the ordinance on second and final reading, adopting the City of Harlingen's, annual budget for fiscal year 2024 by record vote. And so that's not this one, Gabe, that's the next one is the property tax.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
okay.
That's correct.
So
14.
item 12, we have to take this as a record vote, so is there a motion first?
Motion.
I think
Second.
that you have to read the ordinance, the caption?
Yes. No, there's no hearing.
On 12?
On 12?
Yes,
12.
Yes, 12, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, okay.
Someone needs to bring us all some coffee. I just,
An ordinance adopting the revenue and expenditure budget for the City of Harlingen, Texas for the fiscal year October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024, providing for publication of the caption of this ordinance and ordaining other matters related to the foregoing.
and we had a motion by Commissioner Bettis and a second by Commissioner Kinsley. Now we'll start with the record vote. Commissioner Kinsley?
Aye.
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 Now, Robert,
Yes.
since Commissioner Lopez is not here,
It's just absent.
Okay.
Yeah, and we
All right.
record the other votes.
okay, so motion carries. Item 13, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution ratifying the property tax rate reflected in the adopted budget for fiscal year 2024. And this is also a record vote, right?
Not this one. This is just ratifying the tax rate that we are going to adopt into the budget.
That you already had the record vote for?
Yes.
Okay. So then, is there a motion
Motion.
for the maintenance and operations tax rate to be fixed at 0.4?
Well, this one is actually the, it's number 13.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
14, got it.
13.
13, so there's a motion by Commissioner Bettis, second by Kinsley. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion carries. Item 14, consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance on second and final reading adopting the tax year 2023 ad valorem tax rate of maintenance and operation together with the interest and sinking rate for the fiscal year 2024 by record vote. I knew I had read it. Okay, all right. So is there a motion to move that the operations tax rate be fixed at 0.464503 per $100?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and so we'll start with Commissioner Kinsley.
Aye.
Aye.
And this is for the, you said .446?
0.464503 per 100 for maintenance and operation.
Nay.
Okay, Commissioner Bettis?
Aye.
Okay. So,
That's right.
good. And that passes. Now we need a motion for the interest and sinking rate to be fixed at 0.08106 per 100.
So moved. Second.
Okay, Commissioner?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion passes. And finally, is there a motion to, for the property tax rate to be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.545519 per 100, which is effectively a 5.0481% increase in the tax rate?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
Commissioner?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. And we've done that. And again, I know I told you last time, Robert, but thank
Yes.
you for all your hard work. And
Thank you.
Gabe, I know you guys worked really hard to get this done. And I want to remind the folks that this is the lowest tax rate in over 20 years. I'm just going to keep saying that because it's amazing that you guys are able to do that and balance your budget. So kudos to you and to city management and all staff that were involved in that.
Thank you.
Now, item 15, consideration and possible action to approve the annual investment policy for the city of Harlingen. Robert?
This is required on an annual basis for the Public Funds Investment Act. We have not made any changes to the investment policy, and there are 8 items that are addressed in that investment policy, and I provided a copy of the investment policy for you all. I'll just go through it. It's investment strategy, investment objectives, responsibility and control, reporting, investment portfolio, selection of banks and dealers, safekeeping and control, and investment policy adoption and requirements. And all of those 8 items are addressed within our investment policy.
Is there any discussion? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. And item 16, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution adopting the Harlingen Downtown Improvement District budget for fiscal year 2023-2024. Is there a motion to take this off the table?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 So Mayor, this was tabled at the last meeting, and I did provide all of the detail as required. We are requesting revenues of $379,050 and expenditures of $430,467.
Is there any questions?
Yes. What were the numbers again?
Revenues of $379,050 and expenditures of $430,467.
31. So we're operating 51,000 in the hole.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll take that out of the fund balance for that particular fund.
That is correct.
which is why these girls need to make sure that the rates are competitive and also provide them enough money to be able to at least break even, which is the goal, and we are moving forward.
We're working on that.
Alexis is working really, really hard, as is all the staff. So hopefully, next year, that's reduced. Okay, having said that, is there any other questions? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 17, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution adopting the Harlingen Community Improvement Board budget for fiscal year 23-24.
Thank you, Mayor.
Robert?
The 4B Board did meet on the 18th, and they approved for recommendation for approval of this budget, which includes total revenues of $2,400,000 and total expenditures of $8,236,644, of which the majority of that has been encumbered over the years for the golf course, the hike and bike trail, and so nothing new has been added to those expenditures.
And I was there for that meeting too. A great
Yes, it was
presentation.
great.
Is there any questions? Nope. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Robert. Item 18, consideration and possible action to accept the donation of a pump track to be constructed at Arroyo Park and to execute a license agreement with Valley Off-Road Bicycling Association and authorize the city manager to sign the agreement.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, City Commission. For the record, my name is Javier Mendez, Parks and Rec Director. This item here is requesting approval to accept a donation valued of $150,000. It's for a pump track, which will be constructed at Arroyo Park. Valley Off-Road Bicycling Association, they have applied to the Valley Baptist Legacy Foundation. They received funding or approval for funding. And so in order to move this forward, we drafted up a license agreement with them because they will be partially responsible for the maintenance of the pump track. Also, we also included the maintenance of the mountain bike trail, which they help us maintain. Mark has reviewed the contract, made one slight change to the termination clause. Staff recommends approval.
So just for clarity, this is to accept a donation, right, of $150,000 to construct this pump track.
Correct.
And David, who represents that organization, and you, were able to secure these funds, and now you're just asking that we accept them and allow them to construct and to maintain?
Correct. On city property.
Yep. I think I'm excited, and I think it's a wonderful opportunity for Harlingen. But does anybody have questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Please tell David that we're appreciative of all of his hard work. And also, if Javier, you can get with Christina about the Arroyo, what is it, Battle of the Arroyo? No, that's not it.
Showdown? Showdown of the
Showdown.
Arroyo.
We need, so we can do some advertising for that.
Okay.
That would be great. Okay, wonderful. Let's see. We did
I think
21.
we need a vote. Did we have a vote? I only have a motion, but I don't have the vote.
We just did it.
We did.
Okay.
It
thank you.
carries.
It was unanimous.
No, but,
Yes, there was a
did
vote.
did they all?
Was,
vote?
who was the second?
I'll be the second.
Yeah, Rene made the second, but I didn't hear the vote.
It
It
was
was-
4-4.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, item 21, consideration and possible action to contract at ISA General Construction LLC utilizing the interlocal purchasing system program in lieu of bidding process for the renovation of the DID offices and authorize the city manager to execute the contract. Javier?
Yes, Mayor, City Commission, again, Javier Mendez, Parks and Rec Director, for the record. This project here, we've been working on for a while. We hired Ethos Engineering. They prepared the plans and specifications for the project. The majority of the improvements are electrical, plumbing, and HVAC work. So that was the reason that we didn't hire an architect. We hired MEP engineer. The plans, of course, what they designed was to bring the building up to current code. We have done a lot of demo in the building. We removed the asbestos and lead that was in the building. So right now, it's pretty much bare. We also did the repair to the roof. We did some structural repair also. So the remaining is just to build out and complete the project. We did go out to, we contacted a few contractors that were job order contracts, or that participated in job order contracting. And so A1 Facilities came in at $409,444. We also contacted Calidad Construction. They were over $400,000, and they said they weren't going to be able to meet our budget, so they ceased from proceeding with pricing. And then we had two other contractors that went out, and they rejected moving forward with giving us pricing. So the only one that we got it's within range is Araiza Construction. They submitted a proposal to us for $363,440.96. There is a draft contract attached to it. It's for a 90-day contract. And so our goal is to focus on the bottom floor, get that complete so we can move in the DID staff and the CVB. And then we'll work on and focus on the upstairs. So a couple of months ago, y'all had approved a budget adjustment of $187,000 to complete the project. We have about $50,000 left over from the original $200,000 that was originally authorized. So the remaining would come from our budget that we have a balance in building maintenance to complete the project. Staff recommends approval to move forward with Araiza for the $363,440.96.
Is there any discussion? Motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Javier.
Thank you.
Item 22, consideration and take action on awarding workers' compensation insurance.
Mayor, our consultant Roger is going to provide the next few items.
I apologize, I should have moved you up to my,
Oh, that's all right.
thank
Good
you
evening.
for bearing with us.
Thank you so much for taking the time this evening. As you know, we solicited proposals for workers' compensation. We had an expiring rate to expire here on September the 30th with the Texas Municipal League. We currently are contributing they currently contribute approximately $694,199. In the solicitation, we had an estimated payroll of $39,274,919, and they came back as the most competitive offer at $730,181 in comparison to the other proposal that we received, option number 2, for $859,739. Therefore, we're recommending that the City of Harlingen accept the proposal from the Texas Municipal League for $730,181. It represents a 5% increase over prior year.
Okay. A couple of questions, sir.
Yes, sir.
The only thing I know I received was this page. Okay, there's another documentation that goes with some of the item 23 and 24. I come here and I have these here, which I didn't have a chance to review.
Okay, I apologize, sir. I'm trying to see that from here. I can't see it. This is another agenda item.
Okay.
That's the ancillary product.
Commissioner, it's not going to get recorded, everything that's, what's happening. If you could please, the podium.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's okay. Commissioner, if
My
you can
apologies.
ask your question.
So getting back to what we received a couple of days ago, and I'll just go with this one page
Yes.
here. We have a premium of $731.81 from TML. And then you have another premium for $859,719, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's for Texas Mutual. And then out of network, you have a premium of $975,826.
That's
Who's
correct.
that out of network?
That would be Texas Mutual, which is it's a state-funded program. If you have to participate in their network, if you exit out of their network, they charge you more. There's a subcharge for it.
But we never have been part of that network,
No, sir.
correct?
No, sir.
So this other premium of $859 is not relevant, correct?
In this particular case, if you were to consider that, you would be in their network in that program. You would
Okay.
have to be required to do that.
All right.
Yes.
All right, here's my next question. Down here, this is something I've been asking for a couple of years, quietly, I think. Requesting a certified safety consultant, all right? And according to this, there's one that's available for $49,750. Could that be added to the, why isn't that not recommended to the TML?
Well, TML has I guess, a network of, risk managers, I guess, at loss control services. They're obligated to provide that to the city on this fully funded program as needed. So you can actually ask them, they have the resources to provide that. Now, I'm not saying you can't do it, I'm just saying they have it there if you want to utilize
Okay,
it.
is that being provided to the city right now?
As previously experienced, we don't know. I'm sorry. Yes, it is, yes. I'm sorry, and I apologize.
Okay.
It is.
Then let me ask Ms. Bailly here.
Hi, good evening. Erica Bailly, Director of Human Resources and Risk Management.
Okay, I guess my next question is, between both of you, how much have we been paying for the, let's say, losses, or how much are we paying into this monthly fees for claims, is the term I'm looking for?
So I don't have a definitive number. I can get that to you. But the overall premium that the city pays, it covers most of that. So the only thing that we would have to pay is if something it's going to be higher than the deductible. Does that make sense?
So everything's covered under the deductible?
Right. So I'm sorry, and I meant to say it backwards. If it's under the deductible, that's when the city will pay out of pocket per se. So everything else is covered under the deductible. So most of the time, it just depends on what type of equipment or whatnot. Then we'll have a $500 deductible or $1,000. It just depends. But remember, I explained the last time. So TML it's a risk pool, so it's really not an insurance. So you have all these members throughout the state, and they pay into that risk pool. And so essentially, when we're kind of like a bank, right, that you're borrowing money, you're using the same money for all the entities to pay for those premiums. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
And so we do meet with TML, and they do provide that, what you had been referring to about, making sure that they're reviewing our losses and all of that. So they do have dedicated for each district or region, and so they come down and they review our losses, and they provide a lot of training, and they usually get with them and say, look, this is where you all are trailing or failing right now. This is what we can recommend for you all to do. And so right now, we're working on that. And so I think I mentioned this the last time. I know that the position was vacant for quite some time, so things kind of fell off that bandwagon. But now that we're fully staffed in the HR department, we've been proactively working and making sure that, we don't have as many claims. I know the amount of people that have been out on workers' comp, like completely out, because they do get temporary insurance benefits, has reduced dramatically. On any given week, we may have 2 or 3 people that are out, which is really unheard of. I think the biggest liability or whatnot that we have right now is preventing actual accidents, and most of the time they've been vehicle accidents.
Staff recommends?
Approval, yes.
We do recommend to continue to stay with TML. Like I said, they do provide they insure, for lack of a better term, 98% of the state municipalities. So they're going to be your most competitive, and they provide, in my opinion, I've worked with TML in other entities such as the City of Edinburgh, and they will never let go of TML because they provide such great service.
Well, yeah, I just can't let go. So I'm going to ask you this. The city of McAllen, which I alluded to the last time, they use TML, and they have an XYZ firm to make sure that the city complies with all the safety issues, to reduce their premiums and to reduce their claims. Okay, that's what I'm getting to. That's what I see in this 48,000 and change or whatever it is. I'm trying to emulate that because I would like to see our claims and our premiums reduced. Okay. We can look into this person or this firm. We can look into the firm that McAllen uses. All right. What I'm trying to do is reduce our claims and our premiums across the board. I understand 900 entities use TML, and it's a great service, but I'm also thinking about what McAllen does, all right? I want to be able to weigh that out.
If I may, Commissioner, City of McAllen is self-funded under workers' comp, and it's administered by a company called TriStar. They're not with TML. So anything that they're doing is risk-based. So they actually, I can almost tell you what the budget is. It's almost $2.5 million is what they pay in fixed claims.
So they're using TriStar, not TML?
Yes, sir.
My apologies.
No, that's fine. It's again, it's a common error, but they are self-funded, which is very different than what you have. You're fully funded, so you're on what we call a closed contract, meaning the pool calls the shots, if you will. So we actually have to work with them to be able to accommodate any changes you want to make. But at this point, even at this juncture, they're actually using a higher payroll than the competitors. So they're actually going at 39. They're actually 39 million is what they're estimating, which is about $3 million more than what you currently have. So actually, it's an overshot, but you'll get adjusted lower premium as we move along.
And as far as reducing the number of claims, like I said, we're proactively working on that. And it's all going to be a matter of continuing training and having the safety committees. Like I said, most of the claims that we have are vehicle accidents, so that's what we're trying to focus on right now and preventing some of that. But that's the only way really that you're going to reduce any of those claims is by the internal training, which TML provides and will help us with.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Is there any other discussion? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item 23, consideration and take action on awarding the employer-paid term life.
Once again, Mayor and Commissioners, we solicited proposals for the employer-paid life insurance. We had some offers, we had considerable offers, we condensed them down to the 2 top offers, and we're recommending that the commission consider, sorry, I'm trying to see here. Oh, here it is.
Just hit the right button, there
There
you
you
go.
go.
Saturday, 23.
I'm sorry. Again, Commissioners, pardon me, we're asking the commissioners to approve the renewal or the offer from Unum Insurance for a period of 1 year with the option to renew for a second additional year.
Unum is a current provider that we're using right now for the,
Okay, I've got a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
What is the name of your firm?
I apologize, sir. I'm Roger Garza with Valley Risk Consulting. We do consulting work for public entities across South Texas.
Okay.
and your office is here in Harlingen?
It's in McAllen.
And then we're looking at Unum?
That is
Okay.
correct, yes, sir.
Okay, so what I notice here is Salazar Insurance Group is like, they're almost on all of this. Why?
Because we have offers from 4 different entities, and typically.
Who were the other entities?
We had one from the incumbent, which is Shepherd Walton. We had another one from Lone Star, I believe, Lone Star. And then we had another one.
Lone Star what?
Insurance, which is Lone Star Bank.
Okay, so they submitted a bid also?
Yes, sir.
And who else?
Well, it's not a bid. They just put their names as possible agents.
Okay, and did you review, okay, so you didn't get bids from anybody else?
From one more. But they're not individual bids. It's just one bid that comes in, and they put the names of the participating agents there. So when we met with staff, we asked staff, to select or allow us to select, and we had a discussion. We had multiple discussions regarding this. So we looked at the possibilities of selecting maybe 1 or 2 agents to administer the entire program rather than having 4 or 5 agents trying to do enrollment work, if you will. So we came down to 2, which is the current incumbent with Aflac, and then 1 with Salazar.
Okay, so here's why I'm asking you all
Sure.
this. One, I'm Group 1 licensed.
Okay.
So I know how some of this is played, right? Lone Star met with me, and they said they contacted you, and you said, I'm not going to give you any information about any of this stuff, so that they were shut out. They didn't have any data in which to make a bid on. And I talked to Gabe about it and said, we need to rebid this stuff because you weren't treating vendors fairly. And all I see here is Salazar. How are you related to Salazar?
I'm not.
What's your business interest?
Well, I don't have any, sir, but let me correct you on something. I've never talked to anybody from Lone Star. I never have. And I don't believe anybody in my staff has talked to them.
Okay, this is 8:37, yeah, they'll be interested in watching the video.
I hope they are, because I
Because you
don't.
refuse to talk to them, and you refuse to give them information. So that, what is your commission on any of these products?
I don't get anything, sir. I'm fee-based. You can choose any agent you want, but we had this discussion a couple of days ago with staff, and we said, we have 4 agents, we can't have 4 agents enrolling a very limited product. So select an agent.
You restricted companies from making offers because you withheld information.
So that's not true. We posted all that information that we got. It was a 2.5-week posting, I believe it was 2.5, 3 weeks? 3.5, it was a short.
I'm just telling you what they told me.
Yes, sir. Well, that's slanderous, because that's not true. I don't do that. I've
Okay,
never done that.
I'm gonna just take a step back here for a minute.
Can we approve this next month? Can we table this until we get some answers?
So we pay on, unlike the medical, we pay a month in advance. This one, we pay current. So I actually had to have 2 open enrollment periods for this because we went out for RFPs kind of late. And so doing this will delay. The only thing would be is if we go to the current carriers and see if we can go on a month-to-month basis, if we want to go out for RFPs again. Otherwise, I was waiting for tonight's approval so that I can send out notice tomorrow to have open enrollment next week. But if it's going to be tabled or we're going to rebid, the only thing would be is if we go out and we ask the carriers to go on a month-to-month basis because the contracts will end at the end of September.
Is this going to impact staff?
It won't impact if we go month to month. I would need to look at the contract to see if it stipulates if we can. But we may, it depends if the carrier comes back and say, well, we only renew on one-year basis, then we would still have to come back to commission for you all to approve another year. So,
My concern, and I rely on you because you're the
Right.
boss and, oh, sorry, Gabe.
Well, she knows more about insurance than I do,
Yes,
so
yes,
that's-
and so one, I want to ensure that because it is concerning, sir, this is the first that I hear of this, but that is concerning for me, and I would like to see if we could have time to investigate this, I would say at this point, an allegation, right? And so, but it is concerning, and had I known about it, then I would have addressed it with you directly, but I did not know. However, it sounds pretty risky doing this month to month, and so what is your recommendation, Erica?
So if we feel really firmly about this and we want to go, I can go tomorrow and talk to them and see about going month to month. Or maybe they can come back with a renewal rate that will be good enough for us to come back to commission. And what I can do is, at the very least, have open enrollment next week for the dental and the vision, which was approved in the last meeting. And then the voluntary, and so all these products, just so you know, these are all employee-paid products. So it doesn't affect anything with the city, but yes, we want to make sure that everyone is, keeps going, especially those that, have cancer policies or any pending, claims that they have at this point. So we want to make sure that there is no disruption in that continuance. But if that is your direction, I'll be more than happy to do that. I can talk to them as early as tomorrow. Most of them, I think the only thing that was, and you didn't get to the item, but basically, most of them were gonna stay. We were gonna stay with Aflac and Mr. Ruben Ramos as the broker, but there was gonna be a second option to be offered under Colonial. I think the only thing that's in question is which broker will have that product. And so I think, I kind of had this conversation a little bit early on, and as Roger mentioned, we did have that conversation with him into maybe consolidating to having just one broker, because right now, we do have the medical with Salazar. And if you award this, they will have some of the voluntary or supplemental products such as cancer, all of that. And then we have Shepherd and Walton, who has the dental and the vision. And then they had Unum, the life insurance. And then we have Mr. Ruben Ramos, which has all of the supplemental products. So it's a little bit difficult, and for lack of a better word, sometimes we have, and excuse me, but we have the battle of the brokers. And, so kind of they're all, I understand it's, at the end of the day, it's a sales pitch and they want to sell their product. To me, at the end of the day, it's whatever's going to be best for the employee. But we can certainly do that if we want. If we feel that strongly about it, we can see about either a renewal rate going forward and doing another year contract, or if and when going month to month, if you decide you want us to go out for RFPs again.
Mayor, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
If this information was available to all the companies, and it was online, there should be a way to either confirm that or dispute it.
So it's yes and no, because especially with the life, there's still information that they have to ask from the consultant, because they need to know how many lives are being insured at the time. They ask for a lot of supplemental information, so I'm assuming that this is some of the information that Mr. Mesmer is referring to, because whatever is public is public. But if they request more information, that's probably what they're talking about.
Right. You need to know how many people, what's the claims, what type of claims there are, in order to put a bid in with any insurance company out there that plays in that risk pool.
Gotcha. Was this information, was the information Commissioner Mesmer discussing, was that made available to all the applicants, all the?
So I will let the consultant answer that, because
So-
that's what the consultant does. They handle all of the RFPs for us, so.
So Mark, what I'm saying is Salazar. I don't know who Salazar is.
They've been,
Right.
we've,
Right,
Yeah, I'm
but,
just trying to see.
but how in the
do we know-
world could they get the
I-
bulk of everything?
I don't know. I'm just asking, is there a record of what information was available to all the companies? That's all I'm asking.
We have an option with 4 different vendors. We have, and I'm gonna use their last names because that's the only way I can remember them, Ramos. And then there's Lone Star Insurance, which is Lone Star Bank. We have Shepherd Walton and Salazar. And we had that discussion regarding, do we want 4 entities doing enrollments on what we call very limited population? Because it is, the enrollment is very low here. So we're trying to get as many people enrolled as possible. When we ask for the information, they're all on this proposal. They all are. You can choose any one of them. We just chose the one that we thought was gonna be the one writing the majority of the business. So at the end, you can choose any agent you want. It doesn't matter to us. We've never said we prefer this guy over the other guy. All we've said is pick an agent that's more suitable to the product. In Colonial, if I understand correctly, Salazar is the district manager for Colonial. So since Colonial does most of the cancer programs here, that's why he's there. So, and I apologize if someone told you that I didn't contact them or reach out to them. I don't talk to agents.
I'd like to provide some information if I may. Salazar is our current agent for the Major Medical. He's been with us since last year, so he's the one that provides United Health. And then I did have a meeting with Julian Alvarez earlier this week, and he did indicate that he wanted to try to bid next year.
Who's he with?
Julian, he's with Lone Star. Yeah. And so, no,
Yes.
yeah, that's right. And he also does a lot of Texas Workforce Commission still, but pro bono. And so, and I wanted to bring in Colonial because we've had employees who've had issues with getting AFLAC to pay claims. And so I want to have 2 choices for the employees, just like we have 3 choices for the 457s. That's the supplemental retirement benefits. We have TCG, ICMA, and Nationwide. I wanted to have a second choice for the employees, so those that want to choose to stay with AFLAC can stay, and those that want a different provider can switch. Because I didn't want to get rid of AFLAC because we have had some employees that have been with them for some time, but others are having issues with them paying claims, and so I wanted to have another source that employees could switch to.
I think it's a good idea. I know I've had some employees that have reached out to me, some staff, or, well, like from the PD, I think, and from the fire department, they've reached out, they specifically were asking about AFLAC, that they wanted to keep the AFLAC.
Yeah, and so we're gonna keep them, but we're gonna offer hopefully another choice as Colonial, and I think we went to Salazar for that because I think he's the only provider of Colonial, is that? Yeah.
But you can choose any agent other than Salazar. It doesn't matter. He's just the, what do they call him? I don't want to call it broker. He's the district manager for Colonial.
But if and so I think it's great. I echo Commissioner Pettis. I know I've talked to lots of PD and fire, and they really do favor AFLAC, and there was a concern that was going to be removed. But having alternatives there's no problem with that because they can pick and choose. And so if one serves better for, Colonial's better than AFLAC, then we want to give employees the most opportunities and options available to them, just not strip things away from them, which this does, which this does not, so that's a great thing. But what I heard from Erica is that it's difficult working with a bunch of different agents, so it would be it would be easier to work with one for all, is that, or 2?
Or, no, it's 2. You actually have 3, which is fine, but when you do the enrollments, you have to kind of consolidate it. Otherwise, you're going to have what she calls the battle of the brokers, everybody trying to fight for business, which is great because we need to increase the enrollment. But at the end of the day, it's up to you how you want it. You want this agent or you want that agent? To us, we're trying to make it as simple as possible. That's what I'm trying to do. And that's what the discussion was about earlier in the week.
And so, Gabe, so what you're saying is when you spoke with Julian, he was okay with next year? Or was there a concern for this year?
He definitely wants to provide a bid for the city services, because apparently their bank they serve as a broker also. And so he wanted to try to do that. He didn't give me any indication that he knew about us not giving him information, so, but he may not be with that department. I don't know if he knew that or not.
It may be someone else you spoke to, as opposed to Gabe from the same entity or same
And I
company.
spoke to the president.
So, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. That's Alonso?
No, not that one.
Not the president.
Is there a Deonda?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
So nonetheless, what is the commission wanting to do at this point? I just want to make sure that, you know, and the commission can choose what it wants to do, but I know that we have worked with Mr. Salazar in the past, and I think he's done a fine job for us, and you've cut its cost in the past, and so, you know, thank you for that. However, what, you know, Commissioner Mesmer is saying is concerning. But there's always, right, two sides to a story, and so I'll just leave it with that, but we do need to move forward and figure out what we're doing here. My only concern of delaying is possible lapse in coverage for any, and I understand that these are supplemental, but you never know what could happen, and you know, and want to make sure that we are being responsible with employees, and so that's my only concern.
And I just want to verify, you guys recommended Colonial, correct?
That's our current.
Yes, sir.
Colonial and Aflac, we're going
And
to keep
Aflac,
both, yes.
yes, sir, okay. Both.
So we're keeping Aflac
Yes,
currently,
yes, and we're
right.
just adding,
We're just adding
Colonial
another.
option.
Another vendor, right.
Yes.
And they're gonna offer the same products, but just two different vendors, so.
Okay.
Right. But as far as the brokers, that's completely up to commission decision, whether we consolidate into one or two, or we leave the three. That's completely up to you all.
My opinion on this is we're just going to go with the Colonial. I know, Mike, you say many times that we're not the experts, and that we should always, you know, refer to what staff is saying, and if staff recommends the Colonial Life, and we do have a history, what you're telling me, Gabe, with Salazar, so I say, my opinion, this is just my opinion, is I say we, you know, like Erica said, stay with Aflac, and then we also add Colonial, and ultimately, it's going to be the employees that's going to choose what they want.
So is that
And so this one's just the Unum, we still have to go through the actual,
This is just for
the next
the
product.
life
So, I
insurance.
mean, I know we've discussed them a little bit already, but, you know, we still have the other supplemental products to get through, so.
So
Yes,
do you have any clue what the commissions are on all these contracts?
On the one we're looking at, it's probably your lowest because it's your employer paid. It's probably be about 10 or 5% because it is a renewal. That's what they're looking at. So if you look at the total volume, it's very low as well. But I'm assuming it's about 5 or 10%, sir? Because they don't really disclose that, and we don't even talk that. So we just get,
I mean, I haven't written anything in 40 years, so I wouldn't know what it pays, but I know these
right
all
now
pay
we're here,
handsomely.
right?
We're on.
on this one, it's fixed because it's employer paid, so it is a fixed volume. So probably about 10% would be the most.
Okay. All right, it's getting late. Gentlemen, what is it that you
So
want to do?
I make a motion to accept staff recommendation and go with, well, the Aflac and Colonial Life.
I'll second that.
Commissioner,
Or-
this is the
This is
employer paid.
consideration and take action on
Oh.
awarding employer-paid term life,
Could you
not the
repeat your
ancillary.
recommendation, Roger?
Yes, sir. It's, the recommendation is to accept the employer paid with Unum life insurance.
Which is, because we kind of just jumped ahead of
Yes,
ourselves
ma'am.
here.
And that's the one you're looking at right now.
So, is there any discussion on that item? And if not, is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Okay. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
For 23, Commissioner?
Correct.
Okay. Motion carries on that one. Now, item 24 is consideration and take action on awarding employee-paid ancillary products, which is kind of this
Yes, ma'am.
discussion. So,
So-
having had that discussion, is there a motion?
I make a motion to accept staff recommendation and agree to Aflac and Colonial as our people.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Just go with 3 ayes and 1 nay.
I'm not understanding what you're saying. You're opposing, or you're
No.
opposing?
Let's just go with,
He's aye.
it's
Okay.
an aye.
Okay.
I'm an aye.
Okay, so it's unanimous.
Yes.
All right. Okay, all right. Motion carries. That's what I thought, but I wanted to make sure. Item 25, consideration and possible action to approve budget amendments for the current fiscal year 2022-2023 budget. Orlando, welcome.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor, City Commission, good evening. My name's Orlando Campos, CEO of the Harlingen Economic Development Corporation. Excuse me. At its September 12th board meeting, the Harlingen Economic Development Corporation unanimously approved the final budget amendment for fiscal year 2023. This amendment accounts for revenues of $8,059,895 and expenditures of $6,275,275. This equates to an excess revenues and expenditures of $1,784,620. I'm here to, many of you were present during that meeting and heard the presentation, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding this budget amendment.
Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Got that, Amanda? Motion carries. Item 26, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution adopting fiscal year 23-24 budget for the EDC. Orlando?
Honorable Mayor, City Commission, City Manager Gonzalez, once again, Orlando Campos, CEO of the Harlingen Economic Development Corporation. At the same meeting on September 12th, the Harlingen Economic Development Corporation listened in on our proposed budget. They unanimously approved the budget, which accounts for revenues, total revenues of $9,148,456 and authorized expenditures of $13,588,459. I am available to answer any questions that you may have. We also provided supplemental information in the attachment to our proposed budget. Many of you were also present during that meeting and presentation of the budget. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Campos, and thank you
Thank
for
you.
all your hard work. You're doing an amazing job at the EDC. I'm so glad that you chose Harlingen.
Thank you.
And item 27, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution accepting the Harlingen Waterworks System budget for fiscal year 2023-2024.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Tim Skoglund, General Manager for Harlingen Waterworks. On August 30th, the Harlingen Waterworks Board of Trustees adopted the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget and recommended its approval by the Harlingen City Commission. I do have a presentation, or I could answer some questions that you have on this, whichever you'd like to entertain.
Is there any, I have just one question for you, and I don't know if there's more questions, but we just had the Texas Water Development Board here, and $10 million was awarded, and phenomenal job.
Great job.
Great, yes, we're really pleased. I know you worked really hard, excited about that. Just a concern, once that gets awarded, is there any, you know, I'm always about small businesses and local businesses. Will you be reaching out for the local businesses to try to see if they can submit RFQs also for any projects? Are we going to look here locally before we move on to a more national search? And you and I have talked about certain things that are rural specific and maybe require a special skill set, but is that going to be part of your plan?
Yes, well, in late 2019, we published an RFQ for engineering firms, and including specific language asking them to meet Water Development Board criteria. So we evaluated those in 2020, and we have been awarding contracts based off of that 5-year what I call an omnibus RFQ. And so there are local firms. We've actually have one firm who's currently engaged doing some preliminary work for one of the projects that will be funded out of that 10 million. And there are other projects that we will very soon, within the next couple of months, be awarding. And I would say that we're looking at local firms who submitted and are qualified under that RFQ.
Okay.
The mayor beat me to the punch because I was going to ask the same thing because I want us to have engineers here in the valley and especially here in Harlingen. But I'm afraid that if they feel that they're just locked out for the bigger firms, like what's the big one, the Freeze and Nichols? If all the work just goes to them and they're not getting any work, they're like, well, what am I doing here in Harlingen? I want to leave somewhere else.
Right.
So I want to keep the local talent, local engineering talent here, but in order for that, they need to get some work. So I'm hoping you can look into that when you do the awards.
Absolutely, and that's something we factor in one of our first contracts that we had entered into for an engineering basis in 2018, went to a local firm here in Harlingen, and there are others here as well who would be in line for that work. There were a number of firms who submitted, and we have a list. There are many projects that are going to be funded out of that 10 million, so we're definitely going to be looking around. We're doing it locally. We've actually had a discussion this week about that, so we've started to pencil in some firms to invite to help us with those projects.
So then, other than that, Tim, all I want to say is great job. Waterworks your guys are awesome. I think you and your staff do a fantastic job for the city of Harlingen, and just thank you.
Really appreciate that. Thank you. Get all the
Commissioner, any other questions?
Nope, as always, I concur. Great job y'all do.
Thank you very much.
And I like seeing the stuff y'all are putting on Facebook now. That's
Yes.
great, getting that information
Yes.
out.
You must have someone new, right? Do you have someone new
Someone
on
new?
staff?
Marketing person?
No, we're doing that. Extra hours late at night.
Well,
You got an
man
engineer
of
to
many
smile.
skills. Well, you're doing a great job.
Whoever's doing it, I think it's amazing. I mean, getting that out.
Okay,
so
well,
people can see it.
we don't see all the comments that are coming back, so we're thinking, people are bored, but
No.
I'm glad for the feedback. We'll keep doing it.
Yes.
We'll have another one coming out this week.
Yeah, I love it. It just, you believe it or not, you're reaching more people than you think when you're doing it. So, awesome job. And yeah, and I'm still excited about the award. So, thank you so much for your hard
Thank you
work.
for your help.
All right. So, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item 28, board appointments. Commissioner Kinsley?
I have none, ma'am.
No.
All right. And that is all.
Just one second, I have one big question.
Okay.
Did we do number 11? Or,
Did I not do something?
I just want to make sure.
Yes, I think
Yeah, we did.
We did?
Oh, I took them up first because they had an appointment they needed to get going to.
Okay.
Yes, I did that. All right. That is all we have for this evening. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for bearing with us. And thank you, staff, for sticking around. We appreciate you, and y'all have a good night. We are adjourned.